Well, I couldn't get the previous connectors that I mentioned to work correctly. Turns out the gauges of the wires are a little too different for a one-size-fits-all thingamajiggy. Well, okay, I guess it's not one-size-fits-all, but you get the point. So, I used these little thingies. Not really sure what they are, but apparently they seem to hold these two things quite well. I'll try and get the name for you. I'll put it in the description of the video once I figure out what the heck they are. But I just happened to come across them, and Lord behold, they worked. Holy crap. Anyway, what I'm going to need to do with them, though, is I'm going to need to cover them up thoroughly with electrical tape. You know, a little extra protection for them. But I'll do that a little later. What I'm going to do is I'm going to run each wire up, I guess, no, I'll run both wires up one end, and I'm going to use some sort of... Oh, I'm going to use zip ties for that. These zip ties. Hopefully they're reliable. So let's go ahead and zip tie these babies up. Alrighty then. Well, I've got everything zip tied all the way up to here. You may notice this is dangling around still. This is because I haven't quite decided on yet how my method of battery holding devices I've chosen. Although I am currently having a custom welded case being done. So, having that said, I might not have that case done for a while, so what I'll do is put my battery in the backpack on my back or something like that, just until I can get a secure holding device. Until now, this gives me flexibility for battery placement in the backpack itself. Alright, well, you've seen everything you need to do to hook this up to the bike. Now I'm going to have to show you what exactly I did to get all these wires done and custom fitted. It's quite a pain in the butt, but, you know, it'll be worth it. It will be worth it. Alright, now, if you're like me and you want to upgrade your e-bike battery to a really nice one, this is a Ping battery. Well, anyway, it's from the guy on eBay called Ping. Look him up. Great guy. This is the lithium iron phosphate battery. Pretty much the best battery type you can ever get for your e-bike. It's really expensive, but that's not the point. The point is that if you do go with Ping and everything, he doesn't give you an already connected connector on your battery. However, he does on the charger that you get from him. Like I said before, it took me a hell of a long time to figure out what kind of connector this little thing is. Like I said before, I believe it's called chassis panel connectors, 3-prong, something like that. I'll give you a link on YouTube comment or description thingy for you to see. But anyway, now, as you may notice, you have to solder these things. And as you can see, I've already started doing that. It's a little fuzzy. There we go. That's good. And here's the solder, soldering iron, blah blah blah. Now let's cut to the chase. These things are a real pain in the butt to connect. Now, I could have just gone with some other connector, and for the love of God, this bag won't open. But I decided it'd be best to stick with the one that the charger had on it, you know, to prevent anything from screwing up with the charger. I didn't want to take the risk. Probably should have, didn't want to, didn't need to. Found everything I needed. And because in order to solder, this is what I was telling you before, the male part. These that's where you solder the wire on, and you're gonna need to use 18 gauge wire. Yep, 18 gauge wire. Pretty thin. Pick it up at your local Ace Hardware or whatever. Select like whatever length you want, and they got great prices on it. I guarantee it. Love that place. Saved me a trip to go. I was originally gonna go to like a Radio Shack, but you have to like buy a pre-done spool, and it's like 20 or 30 bucks, and you know that's a bunch of BS. So I went to Ace Hardware. Moving on. Now, this is pretty self-explanatory on how you solder a male connector. The female connector, however, is more of a bitch. Anyway, in order to actually solder, you're going to need to unscrew the screw right there. I'm sure you can see it. I'm not going to zoom in. And then you're also going to want to unscrew a screw right here and you know, right there and right there. You'll see it. So, I'm going to put the camera down, and I'm going to unscrew it and show you what you need to do. Alright, got the little screws off. This is the little thing that was like near the back of this. As you can see, it is taken off. And that is step 1 of learning how to do this. Step 2 is not that hard. Like I said before, let me see if I can find it. There it is. See that little screw right there? Yeah, you're going to want to unscrew that. So let me go ahead and do that. Alright, I've got that screw out. And now, you want to pull on this metal part right here and the black part in opposite directions. Now, let's see if I can do this. It may take a little fiddling around with. Actually, I wonder if I could just, yeah, well, I mean, it takes a little bit of effort, as you can tell. So, what I find, though, that helps is, for some reason, putting the male adapter back on. Let's see, there it is. And, once it's back on, well, for some reason it just fell out that time. But yeah, putting the male adapter on helps a bit. Little hint for you there. Anyway, let's see if I can pry these two things apart. Like I said, these connectors pain in the ass. Yeah, you know what? I'm just going to keep it like that. It's good enough. So anyway, what we have here is the inner workings of the female connector. Now, what you're going to have to notice, and be careful what you do with these connectors, is make sure the positive and the negative and whatever goes in the right spot. Now, universally, you'll see there's like a 1, 2, and 3 on these. They're kind of small, but you should be able to see it once you get the product. And just make sure, like, you know, the numbers match up correctly and stuff like that. My cat is going crazy. So, yeah, you're going to be soldering the wire for the battery and stuff onto these little metal panel plate things right there, just around there. You should be able to see it, right? Yeah. And once you solder those, before you solder that though, feed the wire through this, and then as it goes through there and then out, and you solder onto this, then you connect it back together, yada yada yada. That is how you connect the wires. Now, joining the male and female connectors, yeah, that's pretty self-explanatory. So I'll leave you to figure that out. If you can't figure that out, then I don't even know why you're watching this video. Anyway, that's well, that's it for this part of the review. Anyway, I assume I'm probably gonna make a second part to this video, and yeah, I hope this really helped you guys. I noticed on YouTube there hadn't been any tutorials like this for this bike. Well, the one guy had a tutorial, but it was just still pictures, and it was really hard to figure out what the hell he was talking about. So, that's that. I got a text message on my phone, and I gotta go.